Look, have mercy on me.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of On The Bluff, the Thanksgiving special.
Special, baby.
Thanksgiving special. Thanksgiving coming up on Thursday. Couldn't be more excited. I'm going to start it off cheesy for you two. Boys, I'm thankful for you. Thankful that we get to do this show every week.
Let's go.
Yeah.
I'm about to tears
Tear
gonna
up.
come to my eye.
Tear up.
Tears gonna come to my eye. I'm thankful for a lot of things this year, man.
Yeah,
Thankful
what
for
you
a
got?
lot of things. Got married, so
Yeah.
that's well, you know, not that long ago. Thankful for a few months of happy marriage. Thankful. Oh, my buddy Elliot. Have you met Elliot? I don't know if
No.
you met Elliot. He just had his child last night. That was fun. Were you
there?
No, we were playing some video games. Get this, and his wife Rachel. The due date was going to be around now anyway, but she like calls him and she's like, "Yeah, I think I'm having contractions." He's like, "Rachel, stop messing around. Stop freaking messing around. That may not even be it." And then we played one more game, got off. Next thing I know, he's calling me. He's like, "Yeah, we're headed to the hospital. They were actually contractions." and then,
She was not playing
and
around.
about like 4 a.m., he texts me, and it was a nice birth and everything else. That was beautiful.
Awesome.
Old Elijah Montgomery. Shout out to my guy Elliot and his wife Rachel. Thankful for that. Got a little nephew.
Yeah.
Got brought into the world.
You mentioned your wife, not by name.
Taylor. That's her name.
Taylor
Kuhn.
There we go.
Yep. That's her name.
It's beautiful.
Listen, I have the worst. I have the worst contraction day before delivery story with my wife that almost resulted in divorce.
What were you doing?
If we get 10 million likes, I will tell the story next week.
So you are not telling the story.
He's keeping that one under wraps.
I'm also thankful for you guys as well, man.
Thank you,
It's
man.
been a great
Thankful.
venture. I've loved the podcast. I'm thankful that you join me every Tuesday on my radio
We
show.
get to talk twice a week minimum.
Thankful for Thanksgiving football. Thankful for
Food.
That's for sure. That's for sure. Do we want to have a great some food debates off the
Yeah,
top?
we'll get there in a second. Are your folks coming in? Or are you
No,
going?
thankful for that as well. We new tradition is we've done it the last 2 years is family comes to Memphis and we get it all ready.
Alex also?
Taylor always works, so I do most of the food. Well, she'll make it, and then I'll reheat a lot of her dishes.
Okay.
And then I'll do.
Okay.
And then I'll. But then I do. No. Hold up. You didn't let me finish.
Okay, it's just the way
I do.
you
turkey,
said it.
I do the turkey, ham, and mashed potatoes, and that's like the.
Okay.
You know, those are the real fixins right there.
Okay, just the way that you said it.
She does green bean casserole and the mac and cheese, and I reheat it.
Okay.
And I heat it up.
Man said I do all the food.
I do most of it. I said most, but
reheat it.
But we can agree that the ham, the turkey, and the mashed potatoes, that's an important venture.
100%.
You cannot mess that up.
No.
You
No.
cannot. If
But
you're gonna
just-
have a good meal, that ham, that turkey, and those mashed potatoes better be hidden.
The way that you framed it was awesome.
Yes, no, she does a lot of work.
Okay, Kenny, what are you thankful for? I'll go last so I can transition us. But what are you thankful for?
What are you thankful for?
Man, I am thankful, honestly, and I mean this with all sincerity. I am thankful for Monday nights where I get to come up here and hang out with you two, get to hang out with TJ and Trey after y'all get done, get to film the episodes with you guys. It's a lot of fun. Like, I don't think people understand.
Where are our smalts? I could be
That's
thankful
what I
for
was
our
sitting there
smalts if they were here.
Like, I don't think people understand. Like, it's this doesn't feel like work. It's just
No.
fun. Hanging out with dudes, like getting to talk about sports and stuff like that. It's just a lot of fun. We're going on about a year now of us doing this podcast specifically. And so it's just been a crazy, fulfilling, awesome year. So I'm really thankful for that.
Beautiful. Yep. No, I got a lot to be thankful for. We got babies coming everywhere in my family. Sister will have her baby
Shout out.
in April.
There we
My
go.
best friend and his wife will have their baby in February.
The clan is growing, man.
Yeah, Thanksgiving is the due date. And then another
Nieces and nephews.
Yeah, and then another one of our close friends also due in February. So we got babies everywhere. Also, making it public, going for it.
Wait, what?
What?
What's happening?
Nothing's happening.
Whoa,
Say
what's
it. What
going on?
do you bring
I
in
was-
public?
hey, I was
What's
just gonna-
public?
I was just-
Say it.
What's public?
Say it.
I was just going to say, very thankful for my beautiful, wonderful girlfriend.
Oh,
Yes. It's real.
Let's go. What's it going on Facebook? Come on.
Come on. Yeah, so very thankful
When do
for
I get
her.
to meet her?
Hey, whenever you're ready.
Whenever I'm always ready.
Hey, you say the word and we'll make it happen.
Hell yeah, dude. Public?
Public.
Like, listen.
We're doing it.
We're doing it.
What a
Gabe,
man.
Give the audience why did
Holy
why did
God.
we just freak out so
Yeah,
bad?
Gabe-
We've been going on how many months of knowing this, and just like he's been like, we're taking it slow, we're trying to, and then he didn't know when we didn't know when the
Well, just-
information was going to get released.
We're just taking. I've known Christian. I've worked with Christian. Known Christian. Been a
I
part
mean, what
of
was
his
it?
life.
3 months ago when I texted the group chat.
Yeah.
and I was like,
Who you bring-
Hey,
yeah.
well, no, but I
He
literally.
tried, no, I think you texted me that separately.
Oh, I texted that separately. I texted him like 3 months ago, and I'm like, hey, I have a girl I want to set you up on a date with, and he's like, no, can't do that.
Yep.
Can't do that. Going steady with someone.
Yep.
But then 3 months later, we finally have the announcement
It
in a
has-
public forum.
It hasn't,
public
it hasn't been 3 months, but
Bro,
2 months.
that was
Yeah, we're
monument. This day, okay. Mark this date.
And the On the Bluff podcast.
yeah, this is
This is the beginning.
This is monumental.
monumental.
Wow. Okay.
So-
Nice.
Very thankful for her.
Okay.
All right, now moving on. Let's debate some food because we talked a little food last week, and it'd be messed up of us not to talk a little Thanksgiving food before we get into talking Memphis football, Memphis basketball.
Stuffing or dressing?
Neither.
But like, what do you call it?
Oh, dressing.
Dressing.
Okay.
But
I've
I'm
had
not-
too many arguments about this. I'm over it.
You stuffing?
I used to call it stuffing. But it's fine. You can
Is that
call
a,
it
is that a
dressing.
Midwest thing?
No, I mean, it's just a normal person thing. It's like a normal human being calls it stuffing. And then you get into the South and they're like, oh, it's dressing. It's dressing. It's stuffing if you put it in the bird, but it's dressing. But if it's the same thing, why wouldn't you just call it stuffing? But whatever.
Because you don't stuff it with. You don't stuff it in anything.
But I mean, but you can. But whatever. No, I'm not going to get into it right now.
you, said-
all right?
you led with, I'm tired of having this argument.
I'm done with this argument. But you can be dressing. You know, there's more consequential things going on in the world.
That's true.
I'll stick with stuffing.
Okay, let's do a little debate. Turkey or ham?
Turkey.
Kenny?
Oh, that's depending, but turkey.
Kenny?
I mean, honestly, it depends. But if you put down a turkey and a ham in front of me, I'm choosing ham every time.
Yeah, I'm gonna choose ham, but I'm actually not gonna choose either. I'm probably gonna eat both.
All right.
Yeah, that's right.
So we're gonna keep going back and forth. I'll bring
Yeah.
up my next debate
Okay.
here. Green bean casserole, yes or no?
Yes. Yeah.
Heck yeah.
I've always been a no guy. I've never liked the green bean casserole.
Big
Taylor
fan.
makes a decent one. Taylor makes a good one.
Just not your favorite.
I've just never been a green bean
And you
casserole guy.
reheat it.
Yeah, he definitely reheats it.
He definitely reheats it.
Yeah, throw it in the oven for a little bit, reheat it.
So along
Do most of the food. Like I
along
said.
the casserole line, I would say like your probably top four for Thanksgiving: sweet potato, green bean, maybe hash brown, and corn casserole. Probably your top four casseroles.
Mm-hmm.
If you had to choose one, which one you go with?
Ooh. Go through those again.
Hash brown,
Hash brown.
green bean. yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
just-
hash
Say
brown-
no more.
hash
No,
brown is-
say no more.
Yeah.
Hash brown is great, but
Yes.
but corn casserole with jalapenos in it.
Corn casserole was really good, but you just can't beat cheese and potatoes.
And I'll also say this.
Or both. Could you do?
I'm not here to hate on anybody, okay? But if you don't have like at least some level of a solid, good oven baked mac and cheese,
Yes.
yeah.
leave it elsewhere. I'm not coming.
What are y'all's thoughts on spaghetti as a side
For Thanksgiving?
for Thanksgiving?
That seems blasphemous.
Yeah.
Blasphemous? Really? We had it last night and it was awesome.
I mean, I love spaghetti. It just,
And here's what I'll say. I don't think there's a lot of rules.
There's not.
right. There's not a lot of rules.
No, there's not.
You can throw some you can throw some deviled eggs out there. You can do whatever you want. Potato salad. I don't care. If it's good, it's good. But there are some staples that you must
Have.
have.
Yeah.
You have to have the turkey. You have to have the ham. I would enjoy mac and cheese. You have to have mashed potatoes.
Gravy.
But anything outside of that,
don't
the
leave
gravy
that- yeah,
too.
don't-
But anything outside of that, you
Yeah.
know, I'll rock with it. I mean, it's fine.
Cranberry guys or no?
Yes.
I mean, really? It's not really, doesn't really do anything.
Not
for
really,
me.
not really in there for me. Some people will swear by the canned stuff that
Yes.
that sticks,
Congealed.
The congealed.
Yeah.
sticks in the can,
It looks like the can
and you like
when it
pour it
comes
out.
out.
So it's like
It's got ridges down the side.
No,
yeah.
in my family, if you don't get that out of that can with ridges intact without it falling apart, you throw it away and start over. Like
Wow.
it's a thing.
Wow, never heard of that.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, what do the ridges make it taste better? The metal.
That's exactly right.
The metal flavoring.
For me, it's a. I'm a big salty sweet. Like
yes.
separate flavor. And so cranberry is like a very sweet flavor, but it's not a dessert.
Okay. Now we're gonna argue semantics here for a second. I think it's more tart, like where it's got sort of like that.
I agree.
Like that.
It's not
just
sweet.
Like,
I wouldn't call it
It gives
sweet.
you a tingle on your tongue,
Yeah.
like a tingle. Whereas like sweet, it's sweet, like a pie.
It's a
Right.
very
We'll get to pies
different
in a
taste.
second.
That's
It's a
next.
very different taste than casseroles and.
But I get where you could get the sweet and the salty,
yeah.
and that would work
Right.
well. And I've also seen like when people do like the you know, they'll do like sliders, like sliders with all the
Sliders.
leftovers.
Next day
With
sliders.
like the
are the
leftovers.
greatest.
I've always been interested of like when they do the turkey and the mashed potatoes. And they put in like all like green bean casserole, then they throw in the cranberry. I have been intrigued by that, but I've never really gone down the cranberry sauce or
I haven't either.
cranberry
Son, you're missing
route.
out. It's amazing.
It's like would you like this year? Should I go for it?
I would go for it. I mean,
Okay.
it's a year of new beginnings, new marriage. Let's try some new cranberry.
Some tart. Need some tart.
New
with my
marriage,
salt.
new girlfriend, new cranberry. Let's go for it.
Okay. Now dessert. What
Yeah.
are the staples? What are the ones that you have to have there? And what is tier one? What stands out above the
Oh
rest?
gosh, this is so tough for me because hot take. Not necessarily. None of the normal Thanksgiving desserts are really like what I'd eat during the rest of the calendar year. So like none of them really stand out that
So
much.
you're
to
not
me.
a pecan pie guy.
Can't eat it.
I'm
Allergic to nuts.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So there's that. That probably explains a lot there.
The worst kind of pie.
A
for you.
really good sweet potato pie is really good. Like
Pumpkin pie?
if someone goes for it, I'm more pumpkin pie with
Yes.
some Cool Whip on it.
I love pumpkin pie.
I love pumpkin
And
pie.
if you did like some apple pie, cool.
Oh, yeah,
something
big
like
apple, yeah.
that. Heat it up, put some ice cream with it.
I don't discriminate against pies. Like
No.
pie is my favorite dessert across the board. Doesn't matter. Pecan, key lime, lemon icebox, pumpkin. The only one that I'm not like the biggest fan of is chocolate pie. Like I'm just not a big chocolate pie fan.
Yeah, just give me chocolate cake. Give me
Not a
some
big
like
cake. I'm not a big cake guy.
I don't know. I don't want it in the
It's kind of gooey.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't like it.
Let's see, what
that form just doesn't do it for me.
Our desserts for this week, we're having pumpkin pie, pecan pie, chocolate pie.
Peas in a can.
Me and Anna Ruth are making a like chocolate chip cookie dough dip.
Oh God.
Wait,
What are you using to scoop?
I probably graham crackers. If I had to guess.
Okay, add some like chocolate syrup as a side.
Oh,
To
and
dip
call
it.
and to as like a drizzle to like make it look fancy. Oh my God.
oh my god.
Hey, listen,
Oh my god.
this fat boy in here is geeking out a little bit. I'm
Oh,
not
dude,
gonna lie.
I can't wait. I'm so excited. And I think the last one we're having is a Heath cake. So we've got a.
We throw in, weirdly enough, we do throw in the key lime pie.
Key
Just
lime
about
is
every
awesome.
year.
Sometimes, usually we have banana pudding too. I just don't think anybody's making one this year.
Okay. Just because it's not necessarily normal. That would be the one that takes cake. Because Taylor's mother, my mother-in-law, makes just an unbelievable banana pudding, dude. It's like,
You can't beat.
but
banana pudding.
also it will just. I mean, when you talk about calories and the sweetened condensed milk and how you
Who
make
cares?
it, but how you make banana pudding, like good banana pudding, holy God, it's like, it is horrible for you, like horrid.
But it's wonderful.
Right up there
Well-
with damn Marlboro Reds, how bad it is for you. I'm serious, dude. It is bad for you.
Yeah, banana
think it's
pudding
good.
is like top of the line dessert for me in terms of like all year round. I'll eat it.
Oh yeah.
So I do need to say something before we move on from banana pudding.
Okay.
Brittany Baldridge, my sister. I know this has been an argument we've had for years. You make the best banana pudding I've ever had. I just want to throw it out there publicly. I know she listens to the show.
We have some really good positive vibes working
We
this
do.
episode, man.
We do.
We're gonna completely fuck this up in a second. When we talk Memphis
this
football,
is really gonna change quickly.
They did a banana pudding contest at the church that we went to where Brittany was at, and I picked her friend's banana pudding over hers on accident, and it is like 10 years ago, maybe even longer than that, 13, 15 years ago.
Well, you can say that publicly at this point, Kenny. I think the ship's already sailed.
No, it got brought up last night, bro.
But you already screwed it up.
Right.
I mean, if you picked against
take
her,
it back.
That's why I'm trying to bring it out public.
If it was
someone else,
if you screwed up the blind taste test, I think you've told like the whole story
truth.
there.
Yeah.
Somebody else brought something to the public that was yet to be made public. I'm bringing something to the public that is yet to be made public. My sister makes the best.
Obviously, you don't think so.
Now I'll never forget though.
You
on
chose
the blind. This is
another
the
one
last
over it.
thing. Blind test taste is never a good idea with family.
No,
and
it's
like
not.
friends.
It's a
Ever.
mistake.
I remember when I was like 10 or 11. We do like at Easter. We used to always do the deviled eggs blind taste test with like all my mom's sisters and all the family. And my mom's came up and I ate it, and it was so bad that I just regurgitated it immediately. So I've never been able to live that one down.
Yeah, I'm sure you have.
But yeah, no, I am strictly against blind taste test around family and friends.
It's not a bad rule.
You expose people.
It's not a bad rule.
People get exposed in those situations, and I just it's not a very nice thing to do.
No.
Sometimes.
No, not a bad rule not to do blind taste testing with family
And it looks like it's got Kenny in deep water for 10 years.
for 10 years. Yeah.
Decade worth of bad blood.
I'm trying to get out of it right now.
from picking someone's banana pudding over another.
Yeah, but I'm with Gabe on this. You can't really put it back in the box.
Yeah, no, it's over. It's over.
it's
Yeah. Whatever you just said is completely nullified by the fact that 10 years ago you
You
picked
chose
against
a different one.
it. Yeah, like Kenny, you can try to make up for it all you want. It's over, brother.
I've been trying for 15 years,
And you'll be trying for another 15 to no avail.
and it ain't working.
Nope. Anything else Thanksgiving related before we jump out of this?
No, I think we've pretty well covered it.
Think we
brother.
covered it all?
I think we've pretty well
I
covered
would
it.
agree with you. Let's start with Memphis basketball. Got a victory over Alabama State over the weekend. We could sit here. We could talk about it a little bit. There's really not much to talk about with it. I would rather focus our time on the battle for Atlantis. That is where the focus is for the University of Memphis basketball program and for fans right now. That is where the conversation lies. So let's talk about that. And if you want to bring anything in from Alabama State, obviously we can go there. But let's talk about this. This is a huge trip for this team, a really big litmus test for this team. We really get to see what they look like. Neutral site against some of the better teams in the country.
I think this is where you need to understand going into it who's going to step up from a leadership role. Because I would guarantee, even against Michigan, if you move on and play Arkansas, if you play North Carolina or Villanova or some of these good teams out there on a neutral site, like you're going to deal with some adversity. So you just want to see this team come together, make things happen, fight through some tough spells of basketball when the other team's executing at a high level. They haven't really seen a team as good as what they're going to see coming up in this entire tournament. So I just want to see this team sort of gel and that leadership to show through. Night to night, they just need to show some consistency. But I'm be honest with you, man, like I don't have a whole lot of it's not that like I have hope. I have a lot of hope that they're going to come out of this thing 2-1 or better potentially. Like I really feel good about where this team's at right now compared to a lot of teams around the country. They're 3-0. They have 3, 15-plus point wins. Like I don't know how you feel any differently about this team in its current state.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, and I think I understand as fans, like fans can get very caught up in what the record is at the end of this tournament. Like there will be people that if Memphis doesn't win, they will be disappointed, and that's fine. But I just don't think that winning this tournament is the end all be all. And I get it; it's where we're at right now. It's what's directly in front of us. But kind of to your point, it's more about how they respond to trailing in a game.
Yeah.
Because more than likely
Getting
they will
smacked in the mouth a little bit.
More than likely they will have one of those moments where they come out and they get punched in the mouth. And how do they respond to that? How do lineups change from that? Also, this will be the first time Penny Hardaway is able to be on the sidelines and coach this team. How does that change the dynamic? Does it change communication? I mean, obviously it changes communication because he's there, but what does that communication look like? So often last year we talked about the conversations that he would have with Kendrick Davis and DeAndre Williams. Who are those people that go directly to him? You would imagine it would be Javon Quinterly, being the point guard, being the floor general. But I think a lot of people are going to be interested to see what does the dynamic between coaching staff and players look like with Penny there, and then also bigger than that is how they respond to going down or trailing or
just generally speaking. If I'm getting all to like just down to what I want to see them respond to, it's when the talent on the other side is actually equitable. It's a little bit closer.
Yeah,
I still think Memphis is one of the most talented teams in this tournament
for sure.
Like Michigan, Olivier Commois, solid. But outside of that, like, really, do they have like a whole bunch of guys that really scare the hell out of you? Not really.
Right.
They lost a bunch to the NBA draft last year. They lost Hunter Dickinson to Kansas, so they just don't quite have the same level of talent they had last year. I guess North Carolina could still give you some pause
for sure.
They were in the national championship 2 years ago. Armando Bacot's a load to deal with, but you feel more confident because you have Jordan Brown. So, like, once the talent gets close, how do you respond to that? When another team can actually impose their will a little bit, maybe scoring, maybe defense, whatever they're good at, how do you battle with those
and adjust
to those challenges?
Right.
I guess is where we're getting at. But, one thing that has always come up just in the Penny Hardaway era is like, the conversation about pecking order and this and that. I think with this team, we talked about this last week on my show. I think pecking order for this team is more about leadership than it is about the offense. And because that's what the issue and the conversation's been about in the past is offensive pecking order. When Amani Bates was taking too many shots as a true freshman and other guys were falling in line behind him, that probably should have been taking more shots, should have been getting those opportunities. It became a problem and it became an issue, whether it was Landers Nolley or Lester or all these different guys. I don't know if you have even close to that type of issue with this team offensively. It's about leadership and who steps up. And we talked about JQ. I think David Jones is another guy. Jaquan Walton seems to sort of lead by example more than anything. But, those conversations to me have sort of dissipated offensively, where it's like, I think anybody can go get it any given night offensively, whoever's got the hot hand.
Yeah, and I get fans and media members alike wanting to have that conversation because we have grown accustomed.
It's almost a PTSD conversation.
Right. We've grown accustomed to having that conversation every year with how does this eventually line out? Who does it become? Who do we see taking the reins as being the top guy or whatever? But we were talking about it before we started recording. Like, to me, this is the first time under Penny Hardaway where there could be 5 players on the floor at the same time, and any one of them could take a shot, and you wouldn't throw your hands up and say, why is he shooting the ball?
Yes.
And every other year in the Penny Hardaway era, there have been players on the floor when you're like, why is he doing that? Why is he doing – he's doing too much. He's got players around him that are better and can score better than him, and he's trying to put the team on the back when he's not the guy that needs to be doing that. You can have 5 guys on the floor at the same time and not feel that way about any of them running ISO, taking threes, going down low, pulling middies. Like, it doesn't matter. When you have certain players on the floor with this team, you feel good about whoever has the ball and whoever is shooting it.
The conversation was bred from PTSD of past teams.
Agreed.
No doubt about it.
Agreed.
And I think Penny's learned from that, and that's why he brought in this veteran-laden team who sort of falls in line depending on who's got the hot hand that night offensively. But leadership-wise, we're going to see how that grows and how they mature as the year goes along. Now, over the weekend, we did have a couple of things before we hop back into what we think about these teams in the battle for Atlantis. Mizzou lost to Jackson State. That was rough.
Yeah,
that was rough. I'm curious how this out-of-conference schedule is actually going to age. I think Texas A&M is going to continue to be a good team. They're a top 15 team. I think they'll continue to be a top 15 team. They're veteran-laden, good coach. They were really good last year. They're a tournament team. I expect them to stay there. Mizzou,
obviously not.
Not good. Virginia just got hammered by Wisconsin. Like, what was it, 62-41, Kenny? They just got picked apart, and I didn't really feel good about them going into the season because I just don't know if Tony Bennett has the same luster he had at Virginia he's had that the past 5 to 10 years. Who else? Ole Miss does not look good.
Clemson.
Vandy lost to Presbyterian to open the year. Clemson could be okay. That's a sleeper one.
That's what I think too.
It's a sleeper one. VCU doesn't have Mike Rhodes anymore. It's not the same team.
Right.
Like, as much as we really did praise this out-of-conference schedule, and I give Penny a lot of credit for putting it together. It's one of the best in the mid-major. And for those that are listening on audio, I put it in quotes.
He air quoted
so
it.
Relax. I give him credit for putting it together, but I don't know if it's going to be near as good as what we thought it was going to be going into the year by the time we get to February, March.
Right. No, I mean, I have the same questions, and you don't know because at this point in the year, excuse me, you can be looking and say, okay, it is not looking good for them right now, and then that team ends up going on a tear, and vice versa. Like, you never
There's
know.
a lot of names that, like, not all of them are going to fall flat on their face.
No.
Like, some of these wins will mean something.
Right. There will be quality wins amongst
But
this.
who?
But who is? And
who are they going to be?
And that's the question. And we may be right. Like, it may come down, and Texas A&M and Clemson may be those two teams where you say, well, those were really the only ones that were that good.
I hate to poke holes, but Michigan just got done losing to Long Beach State.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, Villanova is still trying to figure it out. And I think they're good, but they're trying to come along.
Right.
Arkansas, who you could potentially play in the second game if you win, just lost to UNC Greensboro.
Right.
Like, I get, like, you could either chalk it up to, okay, these are just,
early season.
Early season. Everybody has early season, issues at times.
Yeah.
And they lose these nasty games. Or you could say maybe these teams are just not that good. So I don't know which way to lean, but I have been debating that back and forth in my head for a while. Is this non-conference schedule going to actually be as good as we thought?
Yeah,
originally?
we will see. And I think that makes tying it back in with the battle for Atlantis. I know, we're even poking holes in some of the teams there, but making it to play against those teams that we know are top caliber, that's why it becomes even more important in this tournament. Yes, winning games in this tournament. Because every team in this tournament is not going to fall flat like you were saying.
But you don't know outside of Battle for Atlantis what other teams are going to step up. A&M's the only one I have confidence about. But these are like this tournament is relatively loaded.
Yeah.
When we talk about college basketball in this day and age and who has been running it for a while. North Carolina, Michigan,
Nova,
Arkansas, Nova. These are names that you could beat, and they will mean something.
Yes.
You don't know if Ole Miss is going to mean something. You don't know if Mizzou is going to mean something, but you know that those names will mean something.
Yeah, and even Virginia, for that matter, like, even if they aren't great, that name value
that could
on
help.
them, it carries something. But with that being said, let's transition to a topic that is not going to be nearly as pleasant to talk about, and that is University of Memphis
football. Kill these vibes already.
I'm killing the vibes. We're killing the vibes. We'll bring them back up. This is going to be a bit of a roller coaster show. Let's talk about the University of Memphis football program. Last week, we talked at length about what needed to happen for Memphis to win this game against SMU. We focused a lot on the defense, as we should have, because the prior 3 games were horrible defensively. And I know you check the box score, you look at the final score, you might say, okay, the defense left a lot to be desired, and they did. They were not perfect. But
no turnovers, that was big. They needed to be more timely.
But I will die on this hill.
Yep.
Memphis did not lose that game because of bad defense.
You're correct.
The offense faltered.
We talk about timely defense all the time. That's sort of what we have been accustomed to talking about when we use that word timely.
Yeah.
Right? We want this defense to get turnovers. We want this defense to get stops on 3rd down, stops on 4th down when it matters. The offense was not timely on Saturday.
No.
They weren't. It was 31-28. They had a drive where they threw 3 passes on a 3-and-out. And then the next drive, they had something going, got a first down. Then they have an illegal man downfield when Kobe Drake caught a ball I mean, he was in the red zone at that point. It gets called back. And then they just started making mistakes and sputtering at that point. And then you're like, oh, no, this might spiral out of control. If they have to punt it, SMU can run clock down and go score, and that would be the death. I mean, that'd be the death
of exactly what they did.
The team. But they ended up having to punt because of the legal man downfield. They were behind the chains. It was uncomfortable. They punt it down. They pin them inside the one. Guess what? Here comes an illegal formation. You go, oh, come on, man. Okay. They punt it again. You're like, okay, they can still pin them, make it hard on them. Pin them inside the 15, around the 14 or 13.
Personal foul.
Here comes a personal foul from Simeon Blair, who's one of the captains on this team. Mm-hmm. And now SMU gets the ball, comfortable spot. You open up the whole playbook, and they run the ball with L.J. Johnson. And they get down into the red zone. You say, okay, hold them to a field goal. Couldn't do that. They had already gotten 2 stops in a row. I don't blame the defense for not getting a third one.
Yeah, because
in that particular situation.
I'll be completely honest with you. The first drive,
and I think
the first drive where Memphis's offense didn't score.
Yeah,
I was like, this game's over.
Yeah,
defense made a stop. Offense gets the ball back.
They gave you some hope.
Yeah, offense gets the ball back. It was like, okay.
Then you see the flag, and you're like, oh.
And then I go, oh, this game's over again. Defense gets another stop. And then offense falls.
It was nothing. Like, I heard some people going after the defense. Matt Parnes should be fired. And listen, if you're talking about, if you said that after the last 3 games, I'd totally be like, I'm not going to blame you. And I guess you could still say that. And they still gave up, what, 38 points? Like, whatever. But I don't think this was the defense in the slightest. I think offensively, there's 2 things. One, they weren't timely. And I think, quite frankly, I know this is not the only thing that really came back and haunted them, but that first drive, when you had a first down, and who was it that got smacked coming across the middle? Was it Demir? So one of the wide receivers, Demir, got smacked, the interception, and they catch, fumble.
I think they ended up calling it. I don't.
It stayed in the air. It could have been an interception or a fumble. If it, it depends on if he had possession. He got rocked.
He got smoked.
Seth did not do him any favors.
No, he did not.
But that popped in the air. They turned it over. SMU proceeds to go straight down the field. That puts you already in a hole that actually kind of loomed large by the end of that game.
Right.
So, man, as much as it's been the tendency, the last 3-4 games to go after this defense and how bad they've been, I thought the defense performed at a decently high level when that game was actually up for grabs. Yeah. And the offense faltered.
I don't disagree, but at the same time, this defense looks horrible. They cannot tackle. They can't tackle, and they can't cover.
I mean, there was I forget exactly what it was, but didn't SMU... Tigers had tied the game. SMU had 4 plays for a touchdown.
Yeah.
That would have meant something too. But I agree with you.
The coverage is really bad, and they can't tackle.
And they can't stop the run anymore.
No.
And it's just like there's no real fixes, man.
No.
Like I don't really. We've talked about that.
Like it
sucks to have no answers, but I have no answers. And I think ultimately it could be Matt Barnes that has to fall on the sword for this whole thing.
Yeah.
Because he's the leader, he's the defensive coordinator. You may have to find somebody else in the offseason.
At this level, and 11 games into the season, I don't know how you are not at least a decent tackling football team, but they cannot tackle, and the coverage is bad. And you go to that first touchdown. And we talked about that first touchdown drive, right? And how pivotal that was.
Yeah.
What was that touchdown scored on? 4th down.
Yep.
That was a fourth down.
And 5.
4th and 5. Man coverage.
Tight end beats you from the slot on a slot fade, and you can't catch up and go tackle the guy?
Well,
I couldn't believe it.
The tight end, was it Greg Rubin that's on him? I'm not 100%
I think
sure.
it was, yeah.
I think it was. All he did is give him one head fake to the outside, like he was about to run an out route, and Greg I don't know if it was Greg, but I'm saying Greg
one of the DBs.
Completely overcommitted, and R.J. Maryland ran wide open down the field. And I get it. At that point, 4th and 5, you're expecting something short, a slant or an out.
At the sticks, yeah.
But you got to be more disciplined than that.
But also,
especially in that moment.
But also, man, how do you let R.J. Maryland, a tight end, get over top of you and outrun you all the way to the end zone that way. Get him on the ground, live for another down.
Right.
See if you can hold him to the field goal.
Yeah.
A slot fade on 4th down from a tight end should not get you a touchdown from 50 yards out.
No.
It's just this team gives up big plays.
Right.
They can't stop the run.
Well,
they're out of position constantly in the pass game and the defensive backfield. Like they have not had a whole lot of positives, but I will give them positives in that second half. They had two stops. They could have been pivotal, and the offense couldn't come through.
Yeah, no, SMU could have been up by 3 scores, and they weren't because the defense made the stop. So I'm not taking anything away from what they did and giving this team an opportunity to win because it's not what we expected. But at the same time, there are clearly things broken on this defense.
Absolutely. Do you think? I mean, but let me ask you this: is this Matt Barnes going to have to be out of here? Right
I don't
now?
know.
I mean,
I really don't. Like, I don't know what the answer.
It's strange because
you've got defensive backs, and correct me if I'm wrong. Matt Barnes was a DB's coach. Or by trade, right? That's originally what he was a DB's coach.
Or either that or linebackers coach.
I think it was a DB's coach. I could be wrong on that.
I think you're right.
I think so.
I want to make sure we cross our T's
Yeah,
and dot our I's.
before I carry on, you can tell me what Matt Barnes was, but I think he was a DB's coach at Ohio State.
Let me check it out. Matt Barnes was defensive backs.
Yeah. So you've got a defensive coordinator whose trade was defensive backs, and you've also got Kenny's laughing back there. And who is Memphis' DB? It's Clark, right? Clark, DB coach?
Yeah, the
Am I
associate.
tripping?
Charles Clark.
Yeah, Charles Clark. He's been here since he came with McIntyre. You've got 2 guys that are DB's coaches. One is one of your top assistants in Coach Clark, and one is Matt Barnes, who is your defensive coordinator. I don't understand how your secondary can be so bad. As far as being in position and just not making plays on the ball. They don't ever turn their heads around.
Yep.
Their heads are buried.
Yep.
You can't make a play on the ball like that.
And then there's some games where they're just completely out of position.
Right.
So
it's even that that late game or the late.
We've talked
late
about
in the game,
this, but you just ask yourself if you're like Charles Clark or if you're Matt Barnes, what do we do?
Right.
They can't make plays on the ball when we put them in man coverage, and then when we put them in zones, they're constantly out of control.
Didn't they score?
And they're just
they score on another 4th down?
I'm not positive.
Wasn't the touchdown on Julian Barnett on 4th down also? Pretty sure. The last touchdown, the final touchdown.
Was that 4th down?
I think it was.
I don't think it was.
But it was man-to-man. Julian Barnett wasn't even close.
The fade ball.
Yeah. And then you've got the drive before that when they kicked a field goal when they targeted R.J. Maryland in the end zone. And Darius Coffey came in the game, had just run on the field, made a great – it was perfect in coverage and just never turned his head around and could have gotten flagged for that. And Rhett Lashley clearly believed he should have gotten flagged for that. He was fired up that it wasn't a flag. So
yeah.
I don't know. It's just disappointing to me that you have a very well-renowned defensive backs coach in Charles Clark and a guy in Matt Barnes who has seen a ton of talent at Ohio State, and you just have a defensive backfield that cannot make plays and cannot make stops. And I don't know. It's
but change, I mean, this is something where you get to the offseason, you have to decide if you're going to make some changes, man.
Right.
You have to make some meaningful changes. And here's one thing I will say. Going into this year, and this is a positive thing. I'm going to get the vibes back positive before we get to the hot three.
Get them back on.
One thing I had questions about this year is innovation, maybe getting the run game a little bit going, getting this offense a little bit more explosive.
Tim
Cramsey deserves a shitload of credit.
I agree.
And there's a reason he was one of the, finalists, I guess, or 57. It's like 57 finalists for the Broyles Award. He has done a great job with this offense, and
yes.
I feel really good about it. And I think, after the first few games of the year, the effect that he has had with Seth Hennigan and sort of helping him through his decisions and keeping the ball out of harm's way, the adjustment was made on the fly, and this team's offense has been substantially better for it. Because let's not make a mistake about this. SMU going into that game was top 10 scoring defense, top 10 scoring offense. They were like alongside Michigan and Georgia and being able to do that. So they're a good defense, and they still carved them up pretty good. There's 402 yards passing in that game. Yeah. You had two receivers go up over 100 yards, and Rock Taylor was phenomenal until he sort of got knocked out. We still haven't really got an answer on that. He didn't play most of the third and the fourth quarter. But you have to give a lot of credit for Tim Cramsey and feel good about where this offense at least is at.
Yeah. No, they've
with all the questions we had coming into the year.
Yeah. No, they've massively exceeded. I speak for both of our expectations because if I would have told you that Memphis would have had a top 10 scoring offense going into this game, you absolutely would not.
Absolutely not. No.
And I wouldn't have believed it either because it just. From what it has been the last 2 years, there was no way that this offense was going to get back to that level of explosiveness.
And also, you can't chalk it up to them just playing crappy teams. They had 27 against Mizzou. They had 34, should have been 35 with a missed extra point, which, by the way, was kind of pivotal. Yeah. It's like you can't miss an extra point in that situation because if you get the ball back on a damn onside kick, you want to be able to kick a field goal to go to overtime. But Tanner Gillis is a third-string kicker. Don't want to hold it too much against him. He's made some big kicks so far this year. But you had 34, should have been 35 in that game. I guess Tulane you could hold a little bit against them, but that was sort of a defensive back and forth.
Yeah, and even if you look at that game in a vacuum, the first half they were really good offensively.
And then going into the second half, they started out the half with a touchdown. So I think Tim Cramsey deserves a lot of credit and a lot of praise for what he's put together this year.
Couldn't agree more. We've talked about thankfulness. We talked everything. Talk about praise with Tim Cramsey. There's another guy. Always deserves praise every single week. We've already told you how thankful that we are for him on this Thanksgiving week, but we're going to give him a little bit of praise because he is the man. Every single week, Kenny Stubblefield draws it up. Great game plan. Beautiful.
Better than Matt Barnes' game plan.
Yeah. I get my head turned around
every
single week.
Yeah, he does. A beautiful hot three. So we are going to take a quick break, and on the other side, we will see what Kenny's got for us.
Bluff City Media and Bluff City NIL are proud partners of Coaching for Literacy, a Memphis nonprofit using the power of sports to impact childhood literacy. When you donate to Bluff City NIL through Coaching for Literacy, your gift is 100% tax deductible. This partnership is a win-win-win. Tiger student athletes win in the NIL landscape. Coaching for Literacy wins by engaging Tiger student athletes in this monumental cause. And most importantly, elementary students in Memphis receive support to become strong readers. To donate today, visit coachingforliteracy.org/bluff-city.
We need front court depth, right? I would say Jaron and Tillman, we're fine with those two. We just need some front court depth. I think Jaron and Tillman could be your starters. Man, the hell with that, man. Like, I'm looking at this one game of Bismack Biyombo, and I'm like, all right, bro, like, just give me more Bismack. Like, I want that Jaron Jackson Jr. Bismack Biyombo front line look very good. This organization has never had a rim protector, like a high-level rim protector before Jaron Jackson Jr. Right. And now you got two of them in Jaron Jackson Jr. and Bismack Biyombo.
Now, let's go with it. Now, it was just one, so we got to, clarify. It was just one game. We got to find out, see a little bit more consistently, but, if he does do anything close to that game, you're fine, and that helps the front court depth anyway, because now Tillman, if you do make that switch, either or, you still got depth at the center position that you didn't have the first 5 games of the season after the Steve Adams injury got announced.
Tune in to The Anthony Sane Show, Wednesdays and Fridays at 12 p.m. weekly on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
You cut the rotation down, which is good to see. Very early on, you played quite a few, but what a quote from Rick. Talking about the rotation in the second half, the rotation got cut down because it was time to stop experimenting and time to win a ball game.
I love it.
Can we get that tattooed somewhere?
I wonder if they stick with that, though. I understand there's some conference games you're going to be able to play some guys.
Well, you can experiment when you're up 30. Let's not experiment when we're down 10
in such a pivotal game on the road.
Yeah.
I know it's only the second game of the year, but it's pretty damn pivotal. Considering you don't have many of those lying around, challenging road games, you need them all because you're not going to get any favors in conference.
But you got a heavy dose of those 4 though with Jones, Walton, Quinterly, and Mills. all playing. David with the least amount, 27 minutes. Then you got 33, 34, and 33 out of Mills, Quinterly, and Walton.
Tune in to Tigers Untapped with TJ Willis and Trey Lasley every Wednesday at 3 p.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Discover a world of possibilities at Streetcars of Memphis. Revamp your ride with the ultimate auto transformation. From booming audio systems to eye-catching wheels, powerful lift kits to sleek drop kits, cutting-edge LED lights and light bars, we've got it all. Unleash your style with confidence. Feel the next level of auto care at Streetcars of Memphis. Your dream ride is just a visit away. Visit us online at www.901scm.com and let the transformation begin.
What is wrong with you, dude?
What?
What is that?
It's the hot three.
But like that? Yeah, we need to leave.
Where are you going, Gabe? Gabe just left.
Punch him before you walk back in.
Gabe left. He left the room. He's out.
He should have left the room. Yeah, apologize.
I'd like to apologize
Thank you.
on the air.
Thank you.
Gabe's coming back in.
We had good positive momentum going.
And he just deflated it all.
What in the hell? Kenny, you've done it this time.
Yeah. Be better.
You have. He's done it
Be
this
better.
Do better,
better.
brother. Good Lord.
Hey, grow up.
Hey, grow up. Hey, this is the Hot Three, sponsored by Streetcars of Memphis. It is nasty, wet, and rainy outside. Some of you might need some new tires. Some of y'all slipping and sliding on some bald-ass tires. Y'all might need some new ones. They can do it for you over there at Streetcars of Memphis. They can get you some new tires. They can get your sound system right. They can put some lights inside, on the outside, whatever you want. They can jack your car up. They can put it on a lift. They can do anything, man. They can also change your oil. They can do it all over there. 901scom.com, Streetcars of Memphis. Link is in the description.
Dude, he nailed it.
He
said it.
They'll even make you comfortable driving in the right lane on Poplar.
Yeah.
That's how good they are.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That is pretty good. And Kenny nailed link in the description.
In the
I
description.
got it after week 8.
Maybe he made up for the
Ridiculous.
alarming beginning of this segment.
Yes.
All right. Y'all ready?
I'm happy he said sorry, though.
Yeah.
Topic number 1. You guys ready?
Yes.
Let's talk some college football. Man, I think the first story that we want to start off with kind of leads us into a larger discussion, but just on its face value, Florida State University's quarterback Jordan Travis suffered a nasty leg injury. College career is without a doubt over. Just what are your guys' thoughts on Jordan Travis, what that potentially could mean for Florida State as they move forward towards the college playoffs? And let's just talk college playoffs.
That hurt my heart to see.
Me too.
I mean, it reminded me of the McKenzie Milton injury. It's just hanging there.
Right.
Just like
Jordan Travis is one of those guys that it's hard not to root for, especially like when you look at his journey throughout his career at Florida State and just what he has become and meant to that team. And they're undefeated. They're staring right down the barrel of a college football playoff berth. All they got to do is beat Louisville and then win conference championship. And he absolutely breaks his ankle.
Yeah, I've seen they've for his before he leaves Florida State, they're selling shirts like the NIL collective that they're going to give to him.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's like 18. It's Believe, but it has #18 before the Believe. However they try to do that, but I like to see that because I don't know what it's going to look like for him at the next level. But he's had a hell of a year, and he's had a hell of a couple of years.
Yeah, the last 2 years.
And the turnaround at Florida State, of course, you give Mike Norvell a hell of a lot of credit for going and finding guys, Keon Coleman, Jaheim Bell, guys like that. But he is stuck by Jordan Travis. He has been a quarterback whisperer for him, and he has turned himself into a hell of a player, which a lot of people, if you've been following him, like you sort of mentioned, a lot of people thought he'd never turn into that.
Right.
You know, too short, doesn't have a crazy arm, likes to run the ball too much. He has sort of become a point guard of that offense, and they're going to miss him dearly. Now, I will give here's what I'll say. I've seen Tate Rodemaker play a little bit, and he's been the backup going on 2 years now for them. He can play a little bit. Like, he's not horrible by any stretch of the imagination.
He got out there and slung it, dude.
Yeah, he ended with 217, I believe, throwing.
Yeah, and
two touchdowns.
Yeah, and
granted, North Alabama. But.
Yes, yeah, of course, that's the caveat. But they were struggling in that game, and then to lose your quarterback in that way, like, credit to Florida State and Tate Rodemaker for, kind of putting that on the back burner and going and beating a horrible North Alabama team. But still, like, they did what they needed to do, and they looked at least a little impressive doing it.
They're the number 4 team in the country, and you hear the debates already.
Yep.
You don't have their starting quarterback. If other teams around them, even if they have one loss, the Oregons of the world, guys like that, Washington, Bama, if they can sort of, if Georgia gets handed a loss by Alabama, do you put them in over a team who doesn't have their starting quarterback? And I would say to you, shut the hell up.
Yeah.
Please shut your mouth.
I agree.
If they win 2 games, if they win their regular season finale against Florida.
Is the ACC championship set yet?
And then they beat Louisville in the ACC championship. Okay. There is no excuse metric-wise to leave them out of the college football playoff, even if Tate Rodemaker's a starting damn quarterback.
Right.
They have earned it. And they have put it all out there. They have a really good defense. I think they can compete with anybody in the country, even with Tate Rodemaker at quarterback. Outside of maybe, Georgia and Alabama may be uphill battles for them.
Right. Still a good
because
team,
of the defensive prowess of those 2 particular teams. But if they can go 13-0 and finish undefeated, there's no excuse for the college football playoff committee to ever turn around and say, well, they don't have their starting quarterback who was a Heisman hopeful at one point. No, to hell with that. If this team's 13-0, they're in.
Completely agree. Because it's not like they just have cupcakes over these last 2 games. Maybe if they had 2 terrible opponents, you would say, okay, maybe it should be a conversation. But they play Florida, who just gave Missouri all they wanted, lost on a last-second field goal to Missouri, a top 10 team. The thicker kicker. Harrison Mevis again winning a game for Missouri. And then Louisville, who I believe was number 10 this past week.
Yep.
Got a little bit of a scare against Miami, ultimately ended up winning that game. So if they beat those 2 teams, they should unquestionably, without a doubt, be in the college football playoff. Now, who will be around them? Who knows? And let's do that quickly before we transition.
I'm rooting for chaos.
Of course.
Like just extreme chaos.
Who is your top 4 guess projection?
Oh, God, this is so hard. I still think Michigan wins this weekend, so that's where I'm going to start. I'm going to go. This is so tough.
It is
so tough.
Very tough.
Because at the same time, I think Michigan can handle themselves and they'd be up there. But I don't know if Georgia is just going to automatically go beat Alabama in the SEC championship game.
Yeah.
So that throws off my ranking right now because Georgia was number 1 last week.
Right.
And then, I don't know really where. You give me your projections and I'll sort of go off of that. Because that's really hard for me to answer at this current juncture.
Yeah. I mean, it's got to be a lot of projection because obviously we haven't even gotten to conference championship week yet.
Yeah.
And that's when the craziness is likely going to happen. I do believe Michigan will enter as number 1.
Okay. And I think I'd probably agree with that.
I think they'll beat Ohio State because I just don't think.
If Georgia goes undefeated and beats Bama in the SEC championship, they're number 1.
But I feel like
Alabama's
Bama is going to beat Georgia.
And I think I'm there with you as well.
So therefore, I believe Michigan will be number 1. I think they'll handle Ohio State. Is the Big Ten championship, is it locked in yet? Do we know who?
No, it's Ohio State and Michigan have to play first.
Right. So regardless, I think Michigan wins this week. They go to the Big Ten championship. I don't see
one of those teams is playing Iowa.
Yeah,
so.
I don't see them struggling too bad in that game. Iowa can't score points. So I'll go them 1. Who else is undefeated right now? Florida State, Washington,
Ohio State,
which we're projecting them to lose. I don't think Ohio State is going to make it.
I don't think so either.
I don't think Ohio State makes it. It's hard to put Florida
Isn't
State.
this hard, man?
It's hard to put Florida State in there because you just don't know.
Yeah. That's why I'm like, you're asking me for a projection.
Okay.
And my brain is getting wrecked trying to like.
Who's Washington going to play in Pac-12 championship?
They just have they don't have sides, so that would be
Oregon. Dang, that makes it even more difficult.
You get what I'm saying?
Because it's like
I think Oregon wins on a neutral site the way Washington's been playing.
I do
though.
too. I think okay. So I'll go this, and I'm not a huge Oregon fan, but I just don't see. It's hard for me to put Florida State in because there's just so much uncertainty with their quarterback. I can't put Ohio State in because I just don't think they've been impressive at all this year, and I think Michigan's going to beat them, which means they will not get to play in a conference championship game. So I'm going to go Michigan 1, Bama 2,
Okay.
Georgia 3, Oregon 4.
Wow.
Which would be controversial because Oregon would be a one-loss team who won their conference championship, and Georgia would be a one-loss team who lost their conference championship. So that could go either way. It could be Oregon 3, Georgia 4, either way, either order on that.
Yeah. I don't know how to feel about this. I think Oregon, weirdly enough, if like some weird thing, because like Texas is still out there.
They suck.
Okay. Whatever. If they win out and they win the Big 12 championship, they're going to have a chance.
Yeah,
a really solid chance.
But they suck.
Okay. And if Washington beats Oregon, they're
Then
in no matter what.
I would prefer. I like Washington. I would want Washington to be in because they're very fun to watch. I'm a big fan of Michael Penix.
All right,
but like you said, with the way that they're playing right now, it's hard to see them beating Oregon in a neutral site game.
I'm going to go Michigan, Bama, Oregon, Florida State in that order. That's what I'm going to do.
Okay. I like that too. I mean,
over Georgia? Oh, because you think Bama's going to beat Georgia in
right? And you think they?
And then I think Georgia would ultimately end at 5 if I'm projecting Alabama to win.
It's fair
because all those other teams would have won out.
It's fair.
It's fair. I don't.
Who knows?
Chances of that being dead on correct seem very low. Like it's just hard, man. Yeah. It's like this year. Chaos can be huge, and I know we say that going into every year, and it never feels like it's that chaotic. But this year. It's like Texas has one loss, Alabama has the one loss, Oregon one loss, but we know how that win against Washington. Florida State has a quarterback out now, so that complicates everything. What if they lose to Louisville in the ACC championship?
You got two undefeated teams that play each other this week.
2 and 3 in the damn rankings play each other this freaking week for a play-in game.
Yeah.
Georgia has to play Alabama, who I think Alabama is kind of primed to beat them at this point.
Yeah.
You know, especially when you get that extended time off for the SEC championship. We know that Nick Saban is 4-1 against Kirby, you know, and Jalen Milroe's playing some of the best ball of his career.
The best ball
of his career. So like, it could get absolutely nuts.
Agree.
And like Texas is still sort of out there looking like,
nope.
All right, are enough of y'all going to lose so I can angle my way in?
Nope.
But then you do have the conversation. This is a real conversation right here. Texas wins out.
I know.
Alabama beats Georgia, and you're like, well, damn, Texas went on the road and won by 10 in Tuscaloosa.
I get it.
Arguably the best win of the college football season.
Texas will find a way to blow it.
Okay. I mean, for the sake of trying to keep everything like at least a little cleaner, it would be nice if Texas lost, but I don't think that's going to happen. I don't know if that's going to happen.
Good. We shall see.
Okay. We'll see.
All right. Kenny, number 2.
All right, let's go topic number 2. Let's stay in college football. I want you guys to give me 2 different picks, okay? We're going to go Heisman picks. I want you to tell me who you think should win, and I want you to tell me who will win.
Oh God, this is. I think I'm going to be a little different than you.
Yeah.
I think everyone should agree on who should win.
Yes.
But this comes back to the conversation of, is the Heisman the most outstanding player or the most outstanding player on a great team?
Yeah.
Because I think who should win, it's Jaden Daniels, and I don't think it's close.
It's not.
He's thrown for 3,500 yards, completed 72% of his passes, 36 passing touchdowns to 4 INTs. He hadn't turned the ball
10
over.
10 rushing touchdowns, over 1,000 yards.
10 rushing touchdowns. He's the leading rusher on his team by over 500 yards over Logan Diggs.
Yeah, I think he's closing in on 1,100.
The only reason his team has 3 losses, if we're being completely honest, is his defense is miserably bad.
Horrible.
One of the worst LSU defenses I've ever seen. But yet the fact that they have 8 wins should really tell you about who he has been as a player. He should win. He should. And I think he's the slight favorite right now.
Yeah.
I am of the opinion, just because I've seen how these things sort of end up when you have 3 or 4 losses or whatever it is by the end of the year for LSU. I think it might be Bo Nix, though. Just because 35 touchdowns at 2 picks. He's got 5 touchdowns rushing.
Plays on the top 10 team.
And he's on a top 6 team right now that's trying to angle their way into the college football playoff. But I will say this about Bo Nix. He has not had to deal with the shittiest of defenses in the country.
No.
He has a really good defense, coached by a good head coach / coordinator in Dan Lanning. So, in the end of the day, I just think based on history and precedent, I think that Bo Nix will win, but I think Jaden Daniels is the obvious answer here.
Yeah, I'm double down. I'm going to say I believe Jaden should win, and I think he will win.
He took over as the favorite. It's kind of strange, though, because he had, eight touchdowns against Georgia State. But, Bo Nix was the favorite heading into the weekend of games.
6 touchdowns.
And he had 400 yards passing and 4 TDs, no picks. Yeah. And it's like Jaden Daniels was that good that he took over.
So here's what I'll say. You're absolutely right. I think it's become more of the most outstanding player on a good team. We haven't had this situation arise too much.
Since Johnny Manziel, maybe?
Right.
It was a good team, but not college football playoff caliber team.
And that's what I was going to say. I think there are some players that transcend that rule. And I think
it's not even a rule. It's just like a precedent.
Understood, yeah. I think what Jaden Daniels doing is by the end of the year, after he plays 2 more games, he's going to have the best season a college quarterback has ever had.
But I think it comes down to, first of all, it should be Jaden Daniels or Jaden Daniels.
Yes.
But it's Jaden Daniels or Bo Nix. Michael Penix, way outside. He'll probably be in New York, but he'll be third.
The last few weeks just hasn't.
He'll be third, maybe. You know, that type of thing. Marvin Harrison Jr., people try to do that. It's like, miss me.
Right.
Please miss me.
I mean, if you go compare side by side, the last receiver to win the Heisman, Devontae Smith with Marvin Harrison, it ain't even close.
Put him next to Malik Neighbors' numbers, please. Do that for LSU, please.
Or Brian Thomas.
Either
one
put it right next to. And Marvin Harrison Jr., I'll say this. I don't think I'm not going to make the argument that he means more than to his team than Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas. He is their only redeeming quality offensively. They don't run the ball that well. Kyle McCord's not that great of a quarterback, and he just makes up for everything with how great he is. But if you just do the numbers, it's just not. Now he's not there.
Now, if you brought C.J. Stroud back to this team,
oh Lord,
with Marvin Harrison now,
I picked him over Michigan.
Yes, I would say 100%. And I think Marvin Harrison would be in that top 3 for Heisman.
Yes,
but I think, like you said, Kyle McCord kind of sucks.
I'm trying to think of
desired.
I mean, Neighbors has better numbers. Brian Thomas is right up there with better numbers. There's other Roma Dunzee's probably pretty damn close.
Got to be up there.
You know, so Marvin Harrison Jr. I think is sort of like a little bit of a political pick by some of these movers and shakers and talkers and reporters.
And that's not to say that we don't believe he's the best.
He's wide receiver 1 in the NFL draft coming up.
But he just hasn't had the production, and it's not on him. It's on his.
He has had as much production as he possibly could given his situation at quarterback.
Yes, agreed.
But at the same time, the level of production he's had, it's 1,100 yards. He's got double-digit touchdowns, but that's not enough to go win a Heisman. No. It's just not, especially at the wide receiver position. It's a quarterback award, but if you're going to be a wide receiver, you better catch for 1,600 yards.
Devontae Smith was 1,800 and 24 touchdowns.
You better go absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
And I don't think Marvin Harris, he's done well for himself.
Right.
Hadn't gone that nuts.
Level. Yeah, I agree. All right, Kenny, last topic, and let's get out of here.
Let's do the last topic. Let's go NFL football. Man, last week, I think it was Gabe, gave some flowers to a certain cheeseball, cornball
very corny quarterback.
And Russell Wilson. And now, coming out of this week, they've won their 4th straight. The Broncos are coming back. They are doing their thing. Let's talk about the Broncos for a few minutes, and then I got one more thing for you.
Consider me shocked. I know Russell Wilson is a historically very good quarterback. I know Sean Payton is a historically very good coach. But if 6 or 7 weeks ago, when this team got throttled 70-20 by the Miami Dolphins, if you would have told me that they would have ripped off 4 consecutive,
including the Chiefs and the Bills,
well, the Chiefs, Bills, and the Vikings, who were the hottest team in the league, who had won 5 in a row. heading into this matchup, and Josh Dobbs obviously playing very well. We know they don't have any Justin Jefferson, but what Brian Flores has done with that defense, those are 3 really impressive wins in a row for a team that was a laughingstock several weeks ago. Credit to Vance Joseph.
Yes.
For what he has done with that defense. They were
God.
the worst defense in the league through 4 games. They have been a top 3 unit in the last 4 games. Overall, between points, yards, takeaways, they've been a top 3 defense. We know Vance Joseph is a really good defensive coordinator. He has been his entire career. It's why he parlayed it into a head coaching job, coincidentally with the Denver Broncos, previous to the last couple of coaching staffs. But yeah, I mean, all the ingredients were there, and we knew it, but it just looked like it was going to be a straight up poo show again.
I'm just pissed off because I got drugged through the mud after week 4. They were 1-3, and I had the nerve, apparently to some people, I said, I know that Sean Payton it's not equaling wins, and obviously after that, they had the disgusting loss, or it was before that, the disgusting loss to the Dolphins. So people were way out on them, and people were trashing Russell Wilson and Sean Payton. But I looked at Russell Wilson's numbers, and through 4 games, let's see, it was 9 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. He was right around 1,000 yards. And I go, listen, as much as this team stinks and defensively they're awful, I think some credit needs to be given to Sean Payton and Russell Wilson for turning this thing around. He looks substantially better, and people would say, oh, well, Nathaniel Hackett was just that bad. He was just so bad that anything would have improved him. But then you look now, they're 5-5. They're in this situation where they've beaten the Bills and the Chiefs and the Vikings back-to-back, and you look at this guy's stats, and they're just eye-popping, quite frankly, man. He's completing nearly 70% of his passes, 2,000 yards, which is not high, but he's pacing the offense relatively well. 19 TDs to 4 INTs. He leads the NFL in touchdowns per pass attempt. He's balling. Yeah. He's having a hell of a year. And it's strange because I think even now that they've ripped off all these wins in a row, he's still not getting a lot of credit. I don't know if people are really turning and then praising him the way he should be praised.
Yeah.
This has been a turnaround, man. People need to start understanding what he's been doing this year. It's not easy to do that. It's not easy to complete 69% of your passes in an NFL football game. It's not easy to go 19 TDs to only 4 INTs. It's not easy to rip off wins like they've won the last 3 times, Chiefs, Bills, Vikings in a row. It's not easy to do that in the National Football League.
Yeah.
And I still don't see the requisite amount of credit that I think I need to see at this point given to Russell Wilson in particular.
I don't think I can add anything
else to that. It's kind of frustrating, man.
Yeah, I agree.
It's just weird. And I understand, you can be annoyed with who this guy is. This guy was doing freaking high knees.
Yeah, he is
in the damn plane when they were going to Europe.
He is a cheese ball.
And he had his own office, and he was, he's corny. He's corny as hell. But at the same time, if a guy deserves praise, give him freaking praise. Yeah. If Patrick Mahomes had these numbers, people would be slobbering all over him right now.
All right, Kenny. You had said you had one more for us.
Let's do one more.
Let's hit this and get out of here.
Let's do one more NFL. Let's talk about the Buffalo Bills. Trashed the New York Jets last night. I don't know where you guys want to go with this. I do know that Zach Wilson is no longer the starting quarterback, so y'all just kind of
yeah. Well, we will go there. I want to pull a quote, and I'm not going to pull it exactly because my phone is over there. But Trey Wingo, I think he's still with NFL, right? Or ESPN.
No, he's done with ESPN.
He does his own thing now.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Trey Wingo said earlier today, and this is paraphrased, I'm not 100%, but it was along these lines. It was absolutely criminal for the New York Jets to go into this season knowing they had a 39-year-old quarterback who has had his injury history in the past with Zach Wilson as the backup quarterback. Yeah. And he is extremely correct. Zach Wilson has incredible arm talent. He has really good mobility for this day and age. He has arm talent. I mean, go watch his, go turn him on in shorts.
Not disagreeing.
I know. Go watch his pro day. There's a reason he was taken in the top 5.
He rolled out to his left away from his arm, and he gunned one over top to a receiver on air, and people, just salivated.
Yeah, what you were about to say. I know.
I'm not going to say it.
I'm with you. But yeah, he's not a good quarterback. He doesn't have it between the ears. Clearly, his IQ is not good. His ability to read defenses is not good. His ability.
What was his S2 cognition test number? I'm just kidding.
His ability to stand in the pocket amongst pressure is not good. His confidence is not good. There's no redeeming qualities about
There's
Zach
nothing.
Wilson.
There's nothing about it.
He is the worst quarterback in the NFL.
And you know what's even more about? Okay, Trey Wingo said it was stupid to have a 39-year-old quarterback backed up by Zach Wilson. No, it's even more criminal. No, it's the worst thing they've done is stuck by him to this point.
Yes, with a team that has a chance.
Here's my thing: if you have a number 2 overall pick, and I guess you want to stand by him, and we've put down this type of investment in this guy, we have to see what he has, right?
He has nothing. He sucks.
He has not shown you any good football. Any. It's like at some point he has to show you flashes. He doesn't even do that.
We had that one good game against the Chiefs.
To hell with that.
When people were like, "Oh, he's finally."
No.
You know what I'm
can't
talking
do.
about.
Yeah, no. Whatever.
Yeah, I agree.
But no, there's been no good football in any. And that was only like a second. It's like a third quarter going into the fourth quarter, and they lost the game. First half, he was not even that good in that game. He has not strung together any consistent good football at all. It's been consistently bad.
Yeah.
And then every once in a while, he'll complete a pass, and somehow people will convince themselves that he should start the next week.
Yeah.
But you know how freaking bad this is? They have Tim Boyle starting. I had to go look this up, and I because I remembered it, like sort of in the back of my mind, because that game I sort of erased from my memory. In 2014, we played UConn. Guess who was our quarterback?
Tim Boyle.
Tim Boyle. I think his lifetime TD to INT ratio when he was at UConn playing in the AAC. 1 touchdown to 13 INTs.
No way. That is not right.
That is
not real.
Hold on. That is 110% correct.
Who did he play for?
UConn. That is 110% correct.
In
and
college.
the reason I remember this, he threw his 1 touchdown against us in 2014. 41-10, we beat UConn. Look it up.
Was that his career or just
Look
that
it
season?
up. 3 years, 1 TD to 13 INTs when he was at UConn.
How is he in the NFL?
Good question. He's 3 TDs to 9 INTs when he's been in the NFL. Improvement. Market improvement. Look it up, Kenny.
I'm trying. I can't find any of his stats anywhere.
Okay, fine. I'll do this right now. Tim Boyle,
UConn
college stats.
Here it is. Okay. Oh my gosh.
Who's right?
You're right. 1 touchdown, 13 interceptions in 3 years.
And his 1 touchdown was against the University of Memphis at home in 2014.
Oh,
how is that even? How did he even?
University of Memphis, he was on the road, but we were at home.
How is it even remotely possible that he even got to sniff
And
the
I'm
NFL?
pretty sure he transferred to like a 1AA school and still had a bad TD to INT and somehow made it through. I don't know how that happened.
Dude, he threw for 1,237 yards in 3 years.
1 TD to 13 INTs. I don't care about how many damn yards.
And he's been in the league for 8 years.
Yeah.
How?
I don't know.
He got that Aaron Rodgers stamp of approval.
But that's how bad it is. Zach Wilson's being replaced by that guy. And Zach Wilson's not even the backup for that guy. It's Trevor Siemian. He's the third string.
He's the third string.
And I honestly think it's the correct move.
I do too.
That's how bad it is.
Except I'd probably start Trevor Siemian over Tim Boyle.
Probably.
But
after knowing what you know and
yes,
what I just told you.
well, I mean, Tim Boyle hasn't shown
That is
anything.
kind of
Trevor Siemian
that
has
is
played.
kind of a wild thing, though. I got to see his 1 touchdown pass when he was playing Division 1A college football.
That is
shout out
absolutely
Tim
absurd.
Boyle.
All right, well, on that note, let's get out of here. That is absurd.
That blew my mind.
That blew my mind too. I was like, "There's no way that can be right." Not that I didn't believe you, but that's just absurd. We appreciate you guys for joining us on this Thanksgiving week episode. We just want to send all of our best wishes to everyone this week. Hope you all have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Get to spend time with your families, with your loved ones. Get to eat some good food, and as me and Gabe will be doing, watching a lot of football.
Yep.
Both college and NFL. And we have our first Black Friday game this year, so we even get a Friday game this year in the NFL. So I appreciate you guys for joining us. If you are watching on YouTube, like, subscribe, comment. If you are listening wherever you get your podcast, you can do all the same things there. For Gabe Kuhn, I am Christian Fowler. Happy Thanksgiving, and we will see you guys back here next week.
Thank you for listening to On The Bluff.
If you enjoyed this episode, leave a rating and a review wherever you download your podcasts. Also, like and subscribe to Bluff City Media's YouTube page. Head over to www.bluffcitymedia.co for comprehensive coverage of Memphis sports and how you can become an insider.